NXTPRO circuit. Your two hosts are here as always. I'm Corban. We got Shanku in the building. We got 1 week in the books, y'all, and we got a ton to break down. It's gonna be a fire show for sure. Shanku, how you doing, bro?
Good, man. It's a busy last weekend, so we got a lot to unpack.
Oh, you went mute on me there for a sec.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now. You back?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, either way, listen, I'm ready. Let's get into it, man. We got a lot to go and get into, so let's start. All right, so we got our. You gonna introduce the next segment?
Yeah, so we got a brand new segment. It's gonna be our top 10 plays from this past weekend. So session 1, kind of like a Sports Center style. But yeah, let's get right into it. So at number 10, we got Jaden Hopkins of Southern Tide's 16U squad. Nasty crossover into a downhill attack, and then a tough finish through contact at the rim. Probably no call by the refs. Unlucky, but that's tough. That's tough.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Listen, y'all, number 9, we got Caden Jonas of Toronto Select. Nasty crossover, and then the ankle breaker into the midi. Let's check it out one more time, y'all. Listen, right here, and then he gone. He gone. That's crazy. That's nasty.
All right, number 8, we got AO Flight 17U. We got Jackson Jorgensen to Christian Gillian off the glass. Oop. Christian Gillian slamming it home for 2.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I like that.
Number 7, we got Trey Guthrie. Get the block. Get that out of here. They going down. We got the lob. We got the slam. Both ends. Both ends right there. You got to love that two-way play. Just erase the shot and then run the floor and finish in transition.
Hey.
You can't beat it. That's nice.
Too big. All right. At number 6, Branson Leduc Maddox. This is a pretty rare play. I've never seen this, but he put it back off the block. So his man got blocked off glass, and he put it back for a slam.
Got that 2K reaction there.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it. All right, number 5, we got Corey and Coleman. Takes to the lane. You know what's happening. That's a poster. I would also be shocked right now. Literally, straight down. Credit to the guy for trying to block it, but he just got himself on the top 10.
Yep. Number 4, this was a crazy game down in Atlanta. It was one family with a huge comeback win. That was Justin Smith with a block. And then here, coming up soon, this game-tying shot. And then one family will get a steal here, force a turnover.
Oh, snap.
And then Nick Womack, the driving kick, drains the triple to win the game. And that's game time.
Oh, that's sick.
Game time.
What a play. What a sequence right there.
What a sequence to end the game off a comeback.
For real, for real. All right, number 3. Got Jaden Hopkins again. Ooh. He got the switch hands in midair on the same side of the basket. That's crazy finish right there. Wow. To get up like that, man.
Jamari Mosley. This was in contention for number 1 spot, but Jamari Mosley for Norcross Heat 17U dunks on 2 defenders.
That's nasty.
Puts him on a poster.
All right, number 1. We got the Memphis Blazers. We got Marvin Warren. We got a crossover. Whoop, just kidding. And then what we got?
Hezzy was nasty.
Oh, that's not cool, though. Okay, 1, and it, boop. And you see the head bob, and then, oh, my. Nah.
Gross.
Wow.
Man.
Yo, that
top 10, but there were so many more candidates that could have been on that list.
A lot of good plays.
Yeah. So if you guys got some additions in the comments, please drop them down below.
Yeah, we happy to do this every week, y'all. This was fun. Looking through all these, the whole team kind of looking in the back, like selecting these. Number 1 was a surprise to me. That was gross, like in a good way, but geez, this is fun. So I can't wait till next week to do the exact same thing. So just stay with us, stay rocking on those. Yeah, leave some comments. We appreciate that.
Yes, sir. So next we had a guest from Pennsylvania who was unable to make it, unfortunately, tonight, but we do have one of our lead scouts, Trey Sterer, joining us. Trey, what's up?
Got Trey in the building?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing good.
Hey, good, Trey. Happy to see you. Happy Tuesday.
For sure, excited to be here.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on. So you were in Valley Forge. Tell us a little bit about that. How was your experience up there?
Yeah, Valley Forge was a fun event. some serious talent across, 17U to 15U. Some teams put on some good performances. I wasn't familiar with a lot of the teams coming in, so it was good to kind of see some new names, see some new programs. Definitely walked away impressed.
That is cool for sure. I kind of want to get into these teams. We have quite a few to kind of run down. We got a lot of undefeated teams. Real quick though, this is your first time on the show here. Hope not the last time for sure, but we always ask just a little bit about your background, just how you got into basketball. Don't have to be super long, but we kind of want to get to know you a little bit more before we kind of get into the heat of the action. What people really came to see. No disrespect to you, of course. We're here to see you, but also these teams.
Yeah, so I've been with NXTPRO for about 2.5 years now. I was here kind of the first summer things got started, and awesome. I've been a scout in Iowa since then. I've been covering kind of Iowa and doing things in the summer, and then coming into this summer, I'm kind of leading our scout team, so I'm excited to be at most of the events. I'm just pumped for a great summer.
Absolutely, right here with you. We're pumped to work with you as well. So good to get going here. But let's talk more about this actual week or weekend rather. Yeah. We had quite a few teams that went 4-0. So I kind of want to go and break it down 17U, 16, and then 15. Give a little minute to breathe in between. But I just want to run through all the teams that went 4-0. Shout out to y'all real quick. Gonna give the moment. And then if you can share, any players that stood out, out of those, any teams that I spotlight on, that'd be great. So for 17U, the 4-0 teams, we had a good little chunk here. We had River City Hoops, Grassroots North Carolina NXT. You got Hill City Crash NXT. We got the Alabama Generals. They were on some highlights NXT. You got the Memphis Blazers. We saw a little bit of highlight with one of them. And you got Team KST NXT. What kind of popped out to you from those undefeated teams this weekend?
Yeah, River City Hoops, they're down in Atlanta. Really good team overall. They're a really well-coached team. They're a team that's coming back from last year. They played last summer. This summer they're coming back. They got a lot of pieces coming back. Jamie and Jackson was a 2025 who had a really good weekend. Trevin Torchin is another guy on that team that can really go. Both of those guys are really nice. Moving down, Grassroots North Carolina, 4-0. Another well-coached squad. A couple names to watch on there. 2025, Kendall Lanier. He's a point guard. Really good player. Another guard on that team. Hayes Oxendine had a nice weekend. 2025s that really killed it. Cool. Going down to Hill City Crash, another 4-0 team. Really liked what we saw from them. Branson Maddox, he's a 2025 that had a really nice weekend. Going to be someone to really watch for going forward throughout the summer for us. The Generals, this is going to be a group that plays with anyone all year. We're really excited about what they can do in the league. Zachary Kane, Braylon Dame, London Townsend, Jalen Chandler all had good weekends. Heard a lot of good things about all of them from our scouts. Memphis Blazers, obviously, you saw that highlight tape. Obviously, an athletic squad coming in. They're well coached. They kind of can disrupt other teams' flow. They defend really hard, get after it on that end. They have a 24 unsigned senior, Marvin Warren, had a really nice weekend. Really, had a highlight. His engine was going all weekend. So those were some guys that kind of stood out from those 17U teams that you listed. Valley Forge too. We had a couple 4-0 teams. Unity was a team that came in. They were led by another unsigned 2024. They have a 6'3" wing, Cameron Canty. Unsigned 2024. Really killed it. He shot the three well, forced turnovers for him. Just did a lot of good things. So wanted to shout him out.
I appreciate that. No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So moving on just from those, I have, sorry if my order here was kind of mixed up. I have another group here. So the 16U. Yep. Anyone stood out from the teams altogether? I can run through them for sure, but between BTI, Pressure Elite, which ones came from Valley Forge? Let's start there and we can kind of spotlight those first and then kind of do the rest.
For sure. Valley Forge in our 16U, Cap City Scrappers, they went 4-0 this weekend. Had a really nice weekend. I watched them, looked really good. They're going to be a contender this year. Terrence Robinson had a great weekend for them. He's a 6'3" wing, all around difference maker. He drives, defends, both of those things really well. Athletic dude. Limitless basketball. I came away from Valley Forge really impressed with what they did in 16U. They've got a really tough backcourt duo with Aaron Horton and Javian Cleveland. Those two guys had a really good weekend. That limitless team is going to be tough to deal with. They play really hard, defend well. Every 50-50 ball, they're getting it. And Javian Cleveland kind of runs the show for them at the point guard spot. He's a really smooth passer, smooth scorer, plays with great pace. Yeah, so those were a couple 16U squads in Valley Forge that went 4-0 that I was really impressed with.
That. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And then kind of closing out the undefeated on the 15U side, was there any 15U actually Valley Forge that you kind of saw particularly interesting that you kind of want to give a moment, shout out?
Yeah, Toronto Select came down from Toronto and they dominated last weekend. They had a really nice weekend. They have a 6'8" forward, Milan Jeric. He's a long, skilled forward, only been playing basketball a couple of years, but he's really figuring things out. Looked really good in Valley Forge, and I'm kind of excited to see the development from him going forward this spring and summer.
That is awesome. Really appreciate the insight on those.
Sure.
Shout out to those teams again going undefeated there.
Yeah, for sure. It's a tough thing to do any weekend.
Yep.
Apart from those 4-0 teams, I'm sure there was some other really good high-level talent. Could you want to shout out any other guys?
Yeah, for sure. I got a couple of guys I got notes on here. 2025 Cameron Kent. He was a guard for Team Run It Up. He looked really good. He's a 6'3" guard, athletic, gets after it on the defensive end. Kind of gets to the rim at will. Really, really nice weekend from him. New Jersey Bulldogs. They brought some good teams in the 16U for them. Daniel Nwegwe and Seth Clark were two just like athletic forces. Seth Clark is built like a D1 middle linebacker. He was bullying people in the post, and then Nwegwe is 6'3", plays guard. He can finish above the rim, passed it well, kind of did a little bit of everything for them. Josh Pratt on SPS had a great weekend, scored 39 points in his first game. He's coming off a state championship and a Hofstra offer. He's a really smooth guard, crafty finisher around the rim, can shoot it from deep. He makes the game look easy. Let's see. Dane Campbell was a player from Pro Level Titans. He killed it all weekend. He is a monster on the defensive end at the guard spot. He was shutting people down, sparking transition, getting to the rim, doing a little bit of everything. That Pro Level Titans squad is going to be a problem this summer. They're nice. They lost one game, but they're going to have a good summer for sure. And then New Jersey Bulldogs on their 17U side, a couple of guys that stood out. Peter Morrow, he's a 6-foot guard. He can really score the ball. He's super quick, super shifty, shoots it well from multiple levels. And then in the post for them, Reinelson DeLone, he was a beast in the paint. He's 6'6", 6'7", passes it well from the post. Great footwork, defends really hard, runs the floor. Just showed a lot of good things. So yeah, those guys. And then I want to shout out Only Elite. They had a really good weekend in 17U. They're kind of a team that, doesn't have one guy that takes over, but they play really well as a team, execute their stuff, and they'll have good success this spring. So
love that. Thanks for the insight on those teams for sure. I have a question, another one here, just kind of spur of the moment. But you watched a ton of basketball this weekend, a lot of games, obviously, a lot of insight on all these teams. Did you have a particular match that you specifically kind of enjoyed? I mean, obviously, it was quite a few there that were pretty good, but was there one that was like, that was just a good game,
Yeah, for sure. Only Elite versus Pro Level Titans was one that I got to watch. They both went 3-0 on the weekend. Cool. Only Elite's only loss was Pro Level Titans, but they battled. Those were two teams that had some really good guard play, played hard, played fast. So I'll definitely be watching out for them, but I really like that matchup, and enjoyed watching those two programs duel.
Appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Trey, thank you so much for coming on, sharing a little bit about Valley Forge.
For sure.
Oh, I was about to say you trying to rush past the question I was waiting to ask Trey.
Oh, my fault.
It's all good. No, you good.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's two things. One, we'll kind of bury the lead here. Session 2, we kind of want to know where you're going, what you're kind of looking forward to seeing, like what you're excited for about there, and then I'll ask the sneaker finisher question.
Yeah, for sure. I will be in Monroe, Louisiana this weekend. I'll be with Shanku and Clifton Dixon, one of our other scouts down there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some of those teams in the Louisiana area. And then I know some Houston teams are coming. Fam Elite is a team that I'm excited to see, especially their 17U squad. I've heard good things about. So really excited about them. I'd be remiss to say I'm really excited to watch Team Ish at some point this summer. Their 2027s have been making some serious noise. James Minland and Parker Watkins are a duo that killed it in Atlanta and killed it when I was kind of watching film before our season started. Those are two guys that I think have a good chance to really blow up this summer. So keep an eye out.
That's awesome. Now my interest is piqued.
Yep.
For sure. And then lastly, before we let you go here, you've heard behind the scenes, all the hypothetical fantasy hoop talk between our fearless co-host Shanku here and one of our directors and scouts, Ethan, on this, basketball game and the skills or lack thereof, whatever the case may be. Where do you stand on this? Because it's kind of some drama behind the scenes. Are you telling Team Shanku or Team Ethan?
I don't
want to put you on the spot, but you are.
No, I'm happy to get into this. So,
all right. Okay.
I've been kind of studying film. I've been really breaking stuff down. Some stuff came out last night. I was originally, leaning towards Shanku, but some stuff came out on Twitter last night.
I was warming up.
That jumper, I don't know if you have any excuse for it, but man, I'm just worried about the range on that thing.
It was definitely 12 feet and in, but in Shanku's defense, he said he was warming up. I just wanted to get your gauge on that. We may see this matchup sometime in the late future, but either way, just kind of know where people stand. And also want to just thank you for your insight as always, Trey, on all things basketball and behind the scenes here with us.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. I will say the poll right now, Ethan's really running away with it. So I don't know. Okay. You might need to do some campaigning, Shanku. I don't know if you could post some handles clips, convince the people otherwise. I don't know.
Watch Shanku put in the top 10. I'm just kidding.
Catch me in July when he's on the floor.
All right.
There we go. Well, thank you. Thank you again, Trey. We appreciate you. We hope to see you on here again real soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That was fun. Got a nice little update there. A lot of good undefeated teams, a lot of good matchups. Really good to kind of get some background on that for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And we've got another special guest coming up from the OKC event. Class of 26, Josh King out of Fullerton, California for Bria Ballers. What's up, Josh?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Thank you for coming.
Oh, yeah, thank you for coming.
Of course.
So Josh was one of the top performers at OKC this past weekend. And I think we just jump right into it. You dropped 40 in your third game, I believe.
Career. Yeah. Career high, everything. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's awesome, man. So talk me through that game. What were you? It seemed like you were kind of getting whatever you wanted on the court.
Ooh.
Step back right there. But talk me through what you were seeing, what the defense gave you, what you took.
Oh man, the basket just looked like it was an ocean wide. So a lot of people talk about the points, but we won the game eventually, and that's kind of all that matters. I played my part, and all my other teammates played their part. Tyson Tyag, our point guard, he played a huge role in that game as well. Same with Jake Shutt and Ricky Garcia. They played a huge game, and I'm just glad we walked out with the W.
Absolutely. Josh, man, just seeing some of those highlights. Obviously, you got in the zone. You already described it. It looked like an ocean when you started kind of shooting it. When, not even how do you know when you're in the zone, but when did you know you were in the zone this game? Like, at what point were you like, whoa, this is easy right now. Like, this ain't a problem for me.
Funny thing is, it wouldn't look that easy if you knew how much sleep we got the night before.
Really? What happened there?
Oh man, it was a long night. I'll just say that.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely knew I was in the zone after I hit a couple of shots. It just everything kind of clicked. Everything was perfect during the warm ups. You know, I kind of just felt it, and value myself as a high IQ player. So when I know I'm in it, and my teammates trust me, and you know, even if I wasn't in it, which that happens a lot. My teammates are still there to trust me to take those open shots no matter what happens. And yeah, everything just clicked, I guess.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So this was your first event with Next this season.
Yes,
How was
sir.
your experience?
Oh man, it was a great experience. I couldn't ask for anything more. Team bonding and yeah, just everything. Uh, it was great competition too. I mean, I live in Brea, California. And over here, you kind of see around the same teams, coming through all the different tournaments and all the high tournaments we play in. You kind of see the same criteria teams. But I love going out of state, because you see all these like Texas and Oklahoma teams that you've never seen before and all these players that you've never seen before. So it kind of gives you a perspective on how big the basketball community is and how big this next pro like circuit is, and we were just blessed with the opportunity to come and showcase our talent. And yeah, it was a great experience overall.
For sure.
For sure. So for those who are, unaware, I'm just kind of learning about your game. I'm sure others here as well are. Can you kind of describe your game for us? You don't have to give any player comps if you don't have any, but kind of how do you see yourself on the court? We need to know.
I definitely see myself as a shooter, like in those clips a little bit before. I'm definitely a scorer. I see myself as, like I said, a high IQ player. But my game isn't all about the scoring. I see myself as a really good passer, and I see the floor really well. So yeah, I would definitely say a scorer slash facilitator. Because if you need a bucket, I'm the guy to call to get you a quick bucket or a quick three. But at the same time, if one of my other teammates are feeling it, or you know, if we need a quick bucket and they're coming to double team, I could see the floor really well and get it out of my hands for a different opportunity that my teammates may have.
I like that.
You talked a little bit about your passing, and I was going
Mhm.
through your film, and I saw some nice reads out of pick and roll. Is that something you've kind of developed over time, or is that kind of natural?
Me and my teammate have such a high level of chemistry. It kind of comes second nature. Um, I think in a couple of them, you saw my guy Jake Shutt and definitely Ricky Garcia. Those are our two bigs that played with us this weekend, and we practice a lot of pick and rolls. So it kind of comes like whenever like they pop, I know they're gonna pop, and we could kind of just like read off of each other, if that makes sense, and give whatever the open play is and get the easy bucket.
For sure. I like that. It sounds like altogether a real successful weekend.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, love to see that. And we know we're going to see more of that as well. So we just want to thank you, obviously, for taking the time and kind of sharing a little about your game.
Of
Just
course.
two quick questions. I guess one is what you're most looking forward to for the rest of the circuit, kind of
Mhm.
moving forward for you and your squad.
Okay. I definitely look forward to the different teams. Like I said before, you don't see a lot of these teams out here in California because it's such a long drive. But you know, it's just crazy to me, like how big the basketball community is and how good these players are that don't live in California. And it kind of brings me to a perspective where you see these other teams and other players, as even coaches, and they compliment you on your game, and they're like, "Oh, where you from?" And then I'll tell them like, "I'm from California," and they're like, "Wow, you really came out all the way over here to just play basketball." I'm like, "Of course I did. Like anything for basketball."
Sure.
Absolutely.
All is well.
Absolutely. That is awesome. And then we ask our players one question before heading out. We love this one. It's starting to become a staple here.
Okay.
Obviously you're a shooter. You've shown how you read and react to the game, how you get others involved. Let's say clock run down, you got the ball, you need a bucket. What's your go-to move, Josh?
Oh man, it definitely has to be it really doesn't matter. Whatever the situation is, if we need a two, if we need a three, whatever the situation is, I definitely think I'll be able to go over there and get a bucket no matter what. And if that's a step back three or maybe a hezzy between the legs, kick out, to one of my guys for an easy lane drive or a dump off to one of my bigs. I really think I could do it all. And, whatever the team needs, I'll bring it to the table.
Ooh, that's what we like to hear on the Next Pro Show.
Yes, sir, Josh. Thank you so much for coming on again.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, man. And keep balling out, okay?
Yes, sir. I'll definitely will.
Yes, sir. All right. Man.
Man, that kid can go.
Buckets.
40?
Yeah.
Season so far, so that's the standard set going forward. But we've got another special guest from OKC, program director and head coach for the 17U Rogue team, Coach Ernie Barber. How we doing, Coach?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
Coach.
Doing good. Thank you for coming on.
Doing all right.
Yeah,
thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So you guys had an awesome weekend going 4-0. Obviously had some really big wins against some great teams. Talk to me a little bit about how you got into this role as the program director for Rogue, also your coaching experience.
We started it about 6 years ago. Got into prep hoops. I had kind of a ragtag group of guys that I'm not sure anyone wanted, and I said, "Well, I'll take them." And started out with one of your competitors when Matt was there. We've kind of followed Matt the whole time, and so Matt does a great job, and he's always stuck to his word. Hey, you win games, you get opportunities, and so we've kind of stuck with that, and we've held up our end of the bargain and won a lot of games. But got into coaching back in the 90s. I played back in the 90s. And I started out it started in JUCO and then transferred from there. But then started coaching high school. Back then it was 9th grade basketball in a local school system here. And learned the game, obviously from playing it. And then, as a coach, it's a whole different game than playing. And so, got my opportunity. Had a friend of mine actually was a principal of schools in Moore Public School System here, not far from here in Oklahoma City. Gave me an opportunity. We played together after college or during college and after college. And so he gave me the opportunity, and I guess the rest is history. Been coaching basketball off and on for many years. And so, but leading up to that kind of led up to the opportunity within Rogue. We started the program, like I said, with a ragtag group of guys and won a lot of basketball games. And we don't win layup lines. We're not going to do that. But when you get into playing against us, you're gonna have a difficult time. So we play more of what I would call a European style basketball, where there's a lot of movement, a lot of ball movement, a lot of movement without the ball. A lot of very highly skilled ball handlers and shooters. I put a high premium on shooting. So if the kid was just on here with 40 points, if he wants to come play next year, we certainly would take.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That.
Love to hear that. That's crazy. For sure. It's funny as you, huh?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You were talking. I apologize.
I said shooting was a premium. Yeah. So a kid like that can score 40, obviously he can shoot the basketball.
For sure.
There you go. Absolutely. I kind of want to see, Coach Barber, if you could talk a little bit more about your coaching philosophy, because as me and Shanku were kind of going over the show, Shanku was talking about how impressed he was by kind of the pro style offense that he saw y'all run. And again, like you said, the motion and the movement and the shooting. So obviously kind of philosophy that's been developed, but can you share a little bit more about, you kind of went into a little bit of the shooting and the premium, but just where you kind of this is the kind of the game I want to coach and how I kind of want to set the standard for my team.
Yeah, so it's really fundamental. Really, basketball is a simple game, and really, with the guys, you try to play to your team's strength, right? And so the guys that I mentioned when we started the program, they were all shooters. They all could shoot the basketball really well. So I just said, okay, this is how we're going to do this. In terms of philosophical, thought processes, is that defense, we play a certain way. We're very team oriented on defense. So that's how we focus. You're generally not going to score 40 points on us. We tend to have a thought process as to how we're going to make you play. And then after that, on the offensive side, it's move, cut, and it's the little things. It's very much in our practices. What we typically do is we work on the same things in every practice. We don't veer from it. We might work on one or two things different, just based on how we played the previous, things that we need to work on. But by and large, it's the same practice every week, and it's almost boring because the guys could almost just run the practice on their own because they know what we do. It's more of an identity because we do the same thing over and over and over and over again. So the guys get them down, and it's almost it's like second nature. They could do it with their eyes closed.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that you constructed your roster in a certain way. All guys can really shoot, pass, handle the ball. I want to touch on a few guys in particular. Destin Edwards is one, class of 26. He's playing up the division, and the youngest player, also the smallest player, likely will be in probably every game he plays this year. But talk about his game a little bit and how he played this weekend.
Yeah, skills, right, left hand, exceptional skill set, very, very smart. I basically told him, in every game, between he and Easton Edmondson basically run our point guard spot depending on who's on the floor, and basically if we're going small or big or however we're working. But Destin, his skill set is fantastic. He can equally go right or left. He's got good explosion. His strength, his lower body strength is really good. He's gotten a lot stronger in the last 12 months from last year to this year. And his shooting ability, he's got logo, type, ability to shoot the three. So he brings a lot to the table. But the big thing with him is that he's unselfish. He can get in the paint. He gets paint touches with ease, and he can shoot the basketball. So if he gets a paint touch and kicks, it's not just you got to watch what he does during that initial burst. It's he'll reset, and then he'll be able to catch and shoot from there as well. So there's a lot of things you got to pay attention to him, and not only shooting, but he can deliver and get in the paint area and cause problems for defenses. So he brings a lot of versatility for us, and more than anything, he's intelligent. It's like he knows what I want him to do on the floor. So it makes coaching easy. I mean, I'd love to sit here and say, yeah, I'm a great coach. I'm not a great coach. I just basically I lay it out for the guys. I hold them accountable, and I just get good, smart guys that are unselfish, and we win basketball games. So.
Yeah, you talked about Destin kind of being able to play on and off the ball. There's another guy in Ethan Sage who is a 6'7" wing out of Weatherford High School. Talk about his game and how you kind of see him projecting long term.
I'll just go to the projecting piece first, and then I'll talk about his game a little bit. I think both of the Sage boys have opportunities to play at the D1 level. It's just going to, obviously the body is there. They've got the skill set as well. They can handle the ball like a guard. They rebound like grown men, and they play defense hard. They're very, very competitive. They're almost willing to fight over guarding the best guy on the other team. That's the kind of competitors that they are. So their skill sets are really good. They can play inside or out, and they're very, very aggressive on the boards. They do everything well, and they're very, very coachable. That's the other part of it that makes it. And they're winners. Obviously, they made it to deep in the state tournament, got to the finals 2 years in a row, lost to a very good Douglas team, but nonetheless. They're just winners. And so that's the expectation. When you've got guys that are winners on your team, and all these guys come from winning programs, some of them actually won state this year, or if they didn't, they got runner-up. So I've got a bunch of winners on my team. So it makes it easy when you've got guys that will hold each other accountable, and these guys certainly do that. And Ethan does that. I project him high as a D1 player, probably mid-major D1 player. But we'll see. Obviously, performance requires performance, and I think we'll see what happens. But I like what I see. They've got all the skill set to do it, and the work ethic is there. So generally, those things all add up to a pretty good final destination.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I think both of those. Ethan's definitely a D1 prospect, so it'll be fun to watch this summer for sure.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. We've got a bunch of guys on our team that are really good players. I think all of them are capable on our team of playing at the next level.
For sure.
It'll just depend on how they perform at the right time and what coaches see them. But I think all of them have certainly. And I only keep 8 guys on a team. I've been religious with that. I only keep 8 and I rotate, and guys get to play a lot. So, I got to make sure my parents are happy. I've got the best parents in business too, by the way. They're very supportive, and our program couldn't be what it is without them. But I'm very thankful for them, and I know our players are, because they do everything for us. They help with video. They do everything we need. The guys just got to show up and play basketball and focus, and they do that well. Which that 4-0 start is good, but it is the beginning. We're not going to go 4-0 every weekend. I wish we would, but hey, I'll take it when we get it.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, sir. We, Coach, want to thank you for coming on. We have one final question. We always ask, a fun random question to a player or a coach that we get on. You're the first coach we're asking this question to, but philosophical here. You are up 3. The opposing team has the ball. As coach, do you have your team foul up 3?
Do I have them foul up 3? Well, no, I don't foul up 3.
Okay.
No. I probably
take your chances.
Because we're advancing the ball in NXTPRO, so that's kind of a gay format, so that changes things a little bit.
That does.
So if they're advancing the ball, I'm probably zoning up 3-2. And I'm basically pushing out. I'm extending out there, and I'm basically not fouling, but I'm contesting pretty hard. Probably what I do, but I don't foul a shooter, right? So
Right.
that's what I'm.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you, Coach, for coming on again. Appreciate you. Hopefully, we'll see you again. Obviously, your team will be one of the top next circuits, and surely there will be a bump in your guys' standings, which will be announced later this episode. So
fantastic. No, I look forward to it anytime, guys. I do the podcast thing as well. So as you're probably aware, Shanku, I do it at ours tonight. So appreciate you guys inviting me on, and I'm willing to come on at any time. Obviously, my guys benefit from it in our program, so I'm more than happy to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Wow. Great, Coach. I'm very much looking forward to seeing that program play.
Yeah, they're fun one to watch. Like I said, pro style offense, a lot of talent, plays hard. So that's another fun one. But
yeah,
heading to OKC in terms of the undefeated teams, Corban.
Yeah,
I'll take it over.
I'm about to say, Shanku, we got to highlight. You were on the ground. You saw a lot of basketball this weekend yourself. As one of the hosts, you get to ask the questions. But in this case, I'm gonna ask you the questions here. So let's start with these undefeated teams and what you saw in Oklahoma. Kind of highlight some about them a little bit. So let's start with Rogue. 4-0. Beat Southern Ties. We kind of talked a little bit about him. Can you say? I mean, we Destin Edwards. Can we talk a little bit about him to start?
Absolutely, yeah. So Destin Edwards right here in this clip. Same foot floater, runner kind of. But he was super crafty, super fun to watch in transition. Really good open court speed. One concept I really liked from him was a concept called nashing, which Steve Nash did really well. He's not the most athletic guard, but he knows how to maneuver through the defense sneakily, really slippery. But I thought that was really fun to watch, creating for himself and others at a high level. But yeah, Destin Edwards was arguably the best player against Southern Ties as the youngest player on the floor, so he's a player to watch for sure.
I was going to say, how big was that win over Southern Ties just for Rogue, do you think?
Man, it was huge. It's a Pro 16 team. They're playing a sponsored team. It's a big game for them. I know they wanted to win. They pulled it out. So
they pulled it out. There you go. I know there's other players aside from Edwards. You also mentioned why we had Coach Barber on Ethan Sage. So what were more of your thoughts on Sage yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Ethan was awesome. He kind of did a little bit of everything. He could shoot the ball from the perimeter, off the catch. He rebounded really well, used his frame, athleticism to grab boards in traffic, played inside and out. Obviously, he's got a good back-to-the-back basket game. And also his vision, I think, is an underrated aspect of his game. He's got great feel, makes plays for others, sees the court well at 6'7", so he's another player I think will be picking up D1 offers coming this summer. Yeah,
definitely see a flash of inside-outside guy with some really good vision from the clips, right? For sure. And then last guy I really want to kind of highlight, kind of get your info on is Logan Knoll.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please, yeah.
Yeah, Logan Knoll is a super underrated player. I think he only averaged maybe 3 points a game this weekend, but it was his motor and his effort which really stood out to me. He made a huge impact every game. He's took the floor in. He was the loudest player on defense, constantly communicating. And then even on the glass, he might not have had like huge numbers offensively, but he was everywhere, tapping back, rebounds, creating second chance opportunities, which is extremely invaluable to a team success.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, the little things for sure.
Sure.
But let's move on to another team here. We got Urban DFW. Keep this. Listen, I'm working on it here. They also went 4-0. Also a huge win over Southern Tides, and apparently, from what I'm seeing here, a pretty even team effort without one of their better players. Yeah.
So Urban DFW has Grayson Rigdon, who was not available this weekend. I think he was at football, but he was the leading scorer in the country this past high school season out of Texas. So he'll be a player to watch. But they had some really kind of role players kind of step up. Guys like Zayden Owens, who averaged 13 points per game, was their leading scorer. He had 20 in a big win, competitive win against KC Spurs. He was scoring from all three levels, kind of as a play finisher. He hit 4 threes in that game, so he's definitely another player to watch for sure for that squad.
Wow. Yeah. Someone who could do a little bit of everything, it seems like you said, all 3 levels. That's good talent right there. Tell me more about Gerald Toney, who apparently averaged 13 points per game. Can you describe a little bit more about his game?
Yeah, Toney was super fun to watch. He also averaged 13 points a game. He had 21. He was huge against Southern Tides in the final game of the weekend. He had 21, scored from all 3 levels. He was awesome in transition. Really good athlete. He was super aggressive, attacking the rim, both in the half court and in transition. Finished well around the rim, uses athleticism well to finish through traffic. So he's another player who could be huge for them going forward.
That's cool. And having some confidence after a good performance against a really good team.
For sure. Yeah. Damn weekend, too.
Wow. Crazy. Let's talk about Invictus Storm Black. They had a win over Team Oklahoma, who was 3-0 before they matched up against Storm Black. They definitely got a boost in the standings. Can we talk about make sure I'm saying this right, but Shyam Patel?
Yeah, Sean Patel.
Sean Patel. There we go. See?
Yeah.
Learn it. Here we go. Sean Patel. Let's break down Sean Patel a little bit.
So Sean Patel was one of the best scorers I saw, or one of the best shooters I saw this weekend. He averaged, I think, 15 points per game, while also averaging 2.5 steals a game. 6'4", guard, 2 guard, shoots the ball, lights out, off the catch, got a quick release, fluid mechanics, as you can see here. He hit 5 threes in one of the wins, in his 3rd win of the weekend. So he's definitely one of the better shooters I saw this weekend.
Wow. Yeah, he definitely has a nice easy ball. That's for sure. It looked like. Wow. Okay, I'm ready to talk about another team that went 4-0. Before we do, we mentioned Southern Tides twice now. Both, unfortunately, loses against some really good teams. And it's great to shout out those teams, and I'm happy to do that. But I'm also curious, what was up with Southern Tides?
Yeah, Southern Tides, it was an interesting weekend for their 17-year group. Obviously, so they had their best on-ball creator, Roman Miller. He went out with the flu in the first half of the road game. And the offense really crumbled without him, I guess you could say. Also, effort levels weren't where they needed to be, I'd say. So I'd say a lot needs to change if they want to see success going forward and avoid that bottom 4 spot in the Port 16 standings.
Oh, yeah. Definitely look for a strong week bounce back. But I was just curious because
2 weekends in Dallas will be a big bounce back weekend for them, hopefully. So
there you go, for sure. Okay, well, I appreciate that. Let's talk about Team United Texas Black. They also undefeated 4-0. Let's start with Luke Stoner.
Yeah, Luke Stoner's kind of their big man, plays in the interior, does a lot of his scoring around the basket, but also defends well, protects the glass. He deters shots around the rim, so he's definitely an interior presence for sure for them.
Okay, he got the low post treasure chest in there.
Got some good footwork for sure, yeah.
That's cool. Definitely level big with some footwork down there for sure. Can you also describe the game of another member of their team, Dalen Lewis?
Yeah, Dalen Lewis shot the ball lights out this weekend. Really fluid shooter, can shoot off the catch, off the dribble, and he was big for them, just scoring in bunches and got hot at the right time.
There you go. So someone who's obviously kind of on the outside in for Team United Texas Black here. Is it between Lewis and Stoner you have the inside-out game? Did you see more of a team effort with those two kind of being the consistent threats? Kind of how do they run offensively?
Yeah, I think there were definitely more of a team system.
Okay.
Those two guys definitely stood out to me at least.
I like that. No, yeah. For sure. All right, moving right along to the Texas Wildcats. Another team, 4 up, 4 down, 4-0. Let's start with Justin Ross.
Yeah, so Justin Ross is an unsigned senior out of Texas. He's a 5'10 guard. He's undersized. He averaged 9-10 points on the weekend, but he was their leading scorer. He was a two-way guard. Even though he's undersized, he played pesky defense on the ball, played in passing lanes, also shot the ball really well off the catch. So he's another spot-up threat for sure for them.
There you go. Okay, for sure. Love that. And then right alongside him, Willie Rogers, a guy who seemed to be, as you described earlier, an explosive athlete. Can you describe a little bit more of his game?
Yeah, Willie Rogers is another combo guard, 6'4", got really good positional size.
Okay.
He's super explosive, attacks the rim with aggression, really assertive finisher around the rim, and he can play above the rim with ease. So
Love that. Okay.
he threw down some powerful slams this weekend.
That is dope. Love to see some slams. I'm very excited for next week, just in general. But
Yeah.
here we are. But let's go down from the 17U. We go to the 16U. Had a bunch of great basketball all the way down the line. Whether NTX Raptors Elite off to you. Let's kind of just go into it. Let's start with NTX Raptors Elite. They gave AAO Flight their only loss of the weekend. Can you describe a little bit more about how that game went down?
Yeah, so the Raptors were a team I wasn't too familiar with coming into the weekend, but they had two guys that really stuck out to me. One of them was Caden Johnson, class of 26 out of Texas, and he's a 6'4", almost point guard, I'd say, but he was so good. He's a one prospect, in my opinion. He was super athletic, great frame, bulky strength kind of guy, but he scored inside probably with the best of them and finished through contact. His ability, his upper body strength was on full display. Finished through contact so well, absorbed contact. So it's definitely a player to watch.
That is cool. There's another player that we kind of want to get some information from you on, Mike Banks.
Yeah.
What do you have on Mike Banks here for us?
Man, Mike Banks is a freak. 6'9", kind of forward wing kind of role, but he was so good in the interior. His ability to create finishing angles around the rim with his length. He's probably got a 7-foot wingspan, but it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous to watch. And on the defensive end, he was blocking jump shots, using his length, good timing and instincts to protect the rim. So he's another key player for them.
That is cool. Definitely want to see a lot more of the Raptors moving forward for sure, especially with some of the play like you mentioned that they had. Moving to another team, off to you. Listen, another team, not only 4-0, but as you said, dominant 4-0, 4 up, 4 down. They won pretty handily when they played. Let's talk about them in general, like your general thoughts on off to you, and then let's talk about TJ Whitney a little bit.
Yeah, so off to you. I mean, they were dominant this weekend. They had an average win margin of 24 points. I mean, it really wasn't close when they took the court. So TJ Whitney, like you said, though, really fun guard. He's a wing, but he averaged 15 points per game. He was a leading scorer. He was constantly above the rim. Offers vertical spacing as a lob threat, 2-foot jumper. So he's definitely just a really fun player to watch.
That is cool. And then right along with him, we had Jacob Gaines, who looked like was a good interior scorer. Can you describe a little bit more about him as well?
Yeah. So Jacob Gaines might be their most polished player.
Okay.
He averaged maybe 12 points a game, but he scored a lot in the interior, did a lot of his damage around the rim. He was aggressive in half court and in transition, looking to attack the rim, finished well through traffic. And yeah, he's definitely a player to watch who will be key moving forward for them.
I like that. Moving to another team, GSA Elite, 4-0 as well. Can you tell a little bit about them and what happened with Tracy Minter? I heard he had a big game.
Tracy Minter in his final game of the weekend, he had 22. He was scoring from everywhere on the floor. Okay. He's got really good touch from all levels of the floor, but also on the defensive end, I thought he was underrated. Quick hands at the point of attack. Good activity on the glass as well, so he can impact the game in many ways.
I like that. You said he had touch from all over. Can he see from 3?
Oh, come on. He can.
Okay. Have to ask. All right, moving right along to OK Wolfpack Lawton. Another 4-0 team. It was a lot of 4-0 out there.
This is the new group, yeah.
Yeah, especially among them for sure. Can you talk about them a little bit and Champ Brewer specifically?
Yeah. Champ Brewer is a guy I saw during the high school season playing for Lawton High School. Champ Brewer's got such a smooth game. He's a lefty. One of the smoothest strokes you'll see on the circuit, really. He averaged 15 points a game this session, shooting 37% from 3 on nearly 5 attempts a game. So he's a volume shooter who can really light it up. He had, I think, 6 one game, maybe 5 or 6 on 6 or 7 attempts. So high proficient shooter. So
that's nice.
Fun to watch.
That's nice. Yeah, especially from deep, especially in this kind of these sessions. A big weekend for shooting. Whew. Yeah. I love that. Team Oklahoma, 4-0, and just like off to you. It seems like a lot of their wins were pretty clear. Can you talk a little bit more about them?
For sure, yeah, they were. I mean, probably the most dominant team this weekend across all locations. They won by an average of 30 points per game, and two guys in particular really stood out to me. Hudson Height is a player out of Piedmont High School who I wrote about earlier this year. Two-way guard, but his offensive game has really improved over the last few months. He was scoring. He was a leading scorer, averaging nearly 19 points a game. But it was his efficiency. It was unbelievable. 72% from the field, 59% from three on volume. I mean, that is just ridiculous while playing really good defense, both on and off the ball. So he is definitely a player that could explode this summer.
Wow. Seemed like he certainly filled it up for sure.
100% he did.
Wow. And then Evan Goodwin, another guy that was a standout player for Team Oklahoma. Can you share a little bit more about him?
Yeah, Evan Goodwin's one of the toughest shot makers in the 2026 class in all of Oklahoma. He was their leading primary ball handler. He averaged 13 points a game. He was also super efficient, nearly 53% from the field and 52% from three. But not only was his scoring incredible, fun to watch, but it was his playmaking. He's turning into that more of a true point guard type of role. So he's really trying to find his teammates and leverage his scoring gravity.
Yeah, impacting the game in a number of ways on the offensive end is certainly a key to success for sure.
100%.
There we go. Team Unity. What can you tell us about Team Unity? They went 4-0. Trey Mack was a kind of standout player. Can you share a little bit about them?
Yeah, Trey Mack's 6'3" guard. He's two-way impact. I mean, he's got good length to impact the game on the defensive end, playing in passing lanes, super disruptive. But also offensively, he's pretty polished. He's still got work to do, but he was really fun to watch.
That's cool. And then to kind of just close out 16U, Southern Ties, the Pro 16 team for Southern Ties. Had a big win. Can you talk about them? We obviously saw Jaden Hopkins in our top 10 earlier. Can you describe a little bit more about this team? Yeah, that was nasty, man.
Yeah. Southern Ties was just dominant. I mean, they were playing some of the better teams in the 16U division. They won by an average of 23 points each game, and two guys in particular stood out. While it was really a team effort, but Jaden Hopkins obviously is just a freak athlete, as you saw in that lay where he switched hands midair is just unfathomable how good he is. But in the open court, there's maybe few players in the country better than him. And playing above the rim, he had his mid-range game going too. And when he has that going, he's really just unstoppable.
That is cool. Definitely want to see a lot more of them moving forward. I'm sure we'll see their team featured a few more times over the season here on the top 10. So
yeah. One guy also, Neo Lawrence. He's a 5'6" guard out of Texas. And I mean, he was easily, without hyperbole, the best guard defender I saw this weekend. I mean, hounding on-ball defender. He'll guard you 94 feet. He'll be the first to hit the floor every time. He had six or seven steals one game. As a 5'6" guard, I mean, it's just incredible to watch.
Yeah, that's pretty special. Wow.
100%.
All right, moving from the 16U, we got the 15U breakdown from you, man. So let's keep this thing right on going. Let's start with AO Flight. Another 4-0 team, another team that won pretty big when they played. Let's talk about them a little bit. What did you see? What did you like from them?
Yeah, so AO Flight's a Pro 16 team, sponsored team. They'll be one of the favorites in 15U to win it all this year. But in particular, KD Hicks really stood out to me. He's a 6'1" guard. Can play above the rim in space. He can shoot it, lefty shooter, plays super hard, great motor. And yeah, he was easily the best player this weekend.
I like that. Wow. Is he like a little bit of his game inside, outside, a little mix of both? Kind of where does he kind of stand there?
He can play from all three levels and create for his team while doing that.
Okay, that's cool. Cool. Let's go down to GSA Heat. Again, 4-0 for the Southern Ties team for the 15U. Gave them their only loss of the weekend. What do we have on the Heat there?
Yeah, the Heat were fun to watch. They gave Southern Ties their only loss. It was a really good game, really fun to watch. I was there. But Sheldon Corban out of Texas, a 6'4" point guard as a freshman, and I think his ceiling is just so high. He was creating shots from all three levels, really smooth step back game, creating for others as well. Good vision, good velocity on his passes, good processing speed as well. But he'll be definitely a player to watch long term.
Oh, definitely looking forward to that for sure. Oklahoma Wolfpack Mason and a guy standing out from that, Rylan Sykes. Yeah. Let's get the lowdown on the Wolfpack.
Yeah, so I saw Ryland play earlier this summer, or last summer, I should say, but he was definitely a raw prospect, but his game has evolved so much. He's become a lethal mid-range shooter. He's got his mid-range pull-up game on lock now. He averaged 14 points, nearly 6 boards, 3 steals a game. He's got a good frame at 6'2". He's filled into his frame quite well, and he really can suffocate the ball on the defensive end.
I like that for sure. Off to you. 4 up, 4 down. Another good team for 15U. That 4-0. You gotta love that. What do you have on off to you that kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, off to you. I thought was a really.
I'm sorry. I had
Off to you was a really well coached team. I thought their guys all played really synchronized basketball, and they could be a real threat in the 15U group division.
Okay, someone to watch moving forward for sure.
For sure.
Team GME, another 4-0 team. They had a standout PG. Can you share a little bit about him?
Yeah, so GME played Team Oklahoma in their final game of the weekend between 2 3-0 teams, actually. Ooh. And their point guard is a 5'10" guard, Nathan. Sorry if I mispronounced this, but Eek Juba. And he was super fun to watch. He's a crafty point guard, gets to his spots, creates for himself, creates from others, throwing some flashy no-look passes, manipulating the defense really well with his eyes. And also his floater game was unbelievable, great touch. And, 3-level scoring as well.
Gotta love that for sure. And then lastly, just kind of closing out the 15U here as far as teams popping out. Houston Apex, another team, 4 up, 4 down, 4-0. What do you have on them that you really saw that popped out?
Yeah, so Houston Apex also has another long-term prospect in Jaquarian Lincoln. He's a 6'5" wing, really fluid movement. He plays above the rim with ease, finishes through traffic, and then he's also disruptive on the defensive end. He can protect the rim a little bit and also play on the perimeter. So he's a versatile player who can impact the game in so many ways.
I like that. Wow, we just went through a pretty good slate of teams. Good performances, good standout players.
16 teams, I think, went undefeated in OKC this weekend. So gotta show love to them. Yeah.
That's a lot of good ball. In general, we kind of went through 17U, 16U, 15U. Any standouts additionally from all of that you saw that you kind of want to point out here?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I could be here talking for hours about the amount of talent, but I'll just talk about a few guys that come to mind. Lon Johnson is one of them for D1 New Mexico Elite. He's a 6'4" guard who was easily the best guard rebounder I saw this weekend. Unbelievable motor activity on the glass. He's got a really impressive second jump. So not only his first jump, he's got great vertical pop, but his ability to go get the ball off his second jump was super impressive. He also was an incredible finisher around the rim with functional athleticism too. So he was super fun to watch as he led his team to a 3-1 record.
Okay. Just want to highlight 2 more. I know we got another fire guest coming on here. Aside from that, can you share a little bit about Kobe Freeman?
Yeah, Kobe Freeman was awesome. He's coming off a huge junior season with Purcell High School, and he opened up the weekend with 18 points, and his advantage creation was on full display. Out of pick and roll, he has a pretty good first step, but his acceleration really stood out. He can really burst to the basket. He got some great juice in his step, and he can make plays. He's got great finishing technique around the rim, but also creates for others really, really timely dump-offs and kick-outs and just really good vision overall.
Love that. I love that for sure. And then just one more. We're going to have standouts pretty much every show here, y'all, but we're running out of time here. Ryder Phillips, can you share a little bit about what you saw that popped out from his game?
Yeah, Ryder was awesome. He averaged 25 points a game this weekend. I mean, he was tearing up teams left and right. He's a really undersized guard, 5'10", but he can score with the best of them. He was super efficient. And I think 2 aspects of his game that are underrated are his passing. He threw some really nasty passes, great vision, great processing speed, decision-making, all really high level, as well as his defense. He had 6 steals one game as a 5'10" guard who's not the most athletic, but he's definitely a player to watch this summer who could blow up.
For sure. That is awesome. Definitely looking forward to doing more of these breakdowns with you as far as teams and players. It's only going to get more from here, y'all. This is literally week 1, so we got a lot more coming. But speaking of something coming, we have a guest here on the show coming up, Shanku?
Yes, sir. We've got Alex Young from Norcross Heat. He was playing down in Atlanta this past weekend, and he's one of the biggest stock riders from this weekend. So, Alex, what's up?
Hey.
What's up?
How we doing?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. Thank you for
doing
coming
okay.
on.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Oh, yeah. Anytime. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, sir. So you made a lasting impression this weekend with Norcross. How did you enjoy your opening weekend on the next circuit?
Oh, it was great. I couldn't have enjoyed it more. Got out to a good 3-1 start, and I feel like I made a name for myself and my teammates and the program. So just a really good start to the next pro sessions.
Absolutely, can't ask for much more.
Yeah,
for sure. Alex, can you describe your team a little bit more? I mean, the Norcross Heat. One, I mean, the name's dope, but like, kind of, how are you with your team? Like, how is your relationship with the team? Can you kind of describe the vibe of them? Like, I want to kind of get to know a little bit more about this team before I actually get on the ground there.
we're the first word that comes to my mind is a family, man.
I love that.
We're tightly knit. This group's been together since I think 8th grade, and we're really just one. And we just have so many weapons on the bench and on the court at all times. It's really hard to stop us. So yeah, we're united as one, and we run together, man. It's great.
That's cool.
That's awesome. So you guys played some really talented teams. What was the competition level like coming in versus what you expected?
Truly, I what I saw is what I expected. Some really gritty teams. Team Scoop to name one. One Family to name another. Just two really great, well-coached teams. Yeah, I mean, what I went out there is I figured that they were coming for us and we were coming for them. So just really great competition in the first session and looking forward to more.
Absolutely.
Love that for sure. Just trying to get a little bit more about your game, Alex. Do you have a player comp, a player inspiration? Like, if you're describing to someone who doesn't know your game, I'm pointing at myself right now, but wants to know, like, how best would you describe like how you play?
Really just an off the catch player, straight to the rim. Can obviously shoot it a little bit. If you want a player that I kind of model myself after, I think I'd go with a Dalton Connect from Tennessee. If you watch him a little bit, I feel like that's who I resemble the most. So.
Oh, I like that. Dude gets buckets. Yeah. That's cool.
Absolutely.
Real polished.
It's one part of your game. I was going through some film, but obviously you can shoot lights out, shoot the leather off the ball. But I think out of the high post, I liked some of the playmaking flashes I saw. Talk about that feel. Where does that feel come from? Is that developed? Is there a certain player you watched, or talk about that a little bit?
Really, when I was younger, I used to be like taller than most, so I was really developed as a center more, and I feel like in these coming years, as like the game progresses a little more, me being 6'5", I'm a guard in college, so I feel like that high post work has really come from my early on days and in early on associations that I've played with. So that's really where that word kind of comes from. And obviously watching after some of these NBA guys, Luka Doncic, he can play anywhere. Like certain dudes like that, just it all definitely really helps me be able to see that and put them to play on the court.
I like that for sure. Like just immediate application. So that's really cool.
Absolutely.
For real. So kind of zooming out currently, college is coming up around the corner. Have you had any interest yet? Any offers? Can you share a little bit more about behind the scenes on that?
I currently have a lot of standing interests right now from a lot of schools, in state and out of state. No current standing offers, but it's my biggest goal. It's my biggest goal to happen. And I feel like with these next sessions, and if I keep playing like I did this weekend, I'm sure stuff's going to start rolling in sooner or later. So just gotta stay patient, keep my head down, and stick to the process.
Absolutely.
Staying grinding, man. We love it.
Absolutely.
Yep. Shanku, I guess you get to ask the question this time.
All right. So game on the line. Your team tie game. Let's say 5 seconds left. What's your go-to move? What are you hitting?
Let's get it.
Go-to move. Straight to the bucket. Spin move.
Okay.
Works every time.
Ooh, okay.
Going right or left?
Starting in my left hand, spin to the right, so you get that nice right hand layup.
Sure. I like it.
Smooth. Just like your game seems to be, Alex. We appreciate you.
Sir, you know it.
Guys, thank you for coming on again. I think you guys will be in Dallas in 2 weekends.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. We'll definitely be watching you there.
Wonderful.
Norcross Heat's a team to watch.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Absolutely. Man, another great player, man.
Talented hooper, man.
For
We
real.
got so many of them on our circuit. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring them on one at a time going forward. But you have another special guest.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes, we do.
One of our team directors. Obviously, me and him got some stuff going on. But Ethan Fiota is coming on to talk a little bit about his experience in Atlanta. What's up, Ethan?
What's good, Ethan?
What's up, guys? I feel like I'm enemy number one when I come on this show.
Nah, friend of the program all the time. Friend of the program.
I'm happy to be here, though. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So talk about Atlanta a little bit. How was your experience down there, session 1? What was that like?
It was great. I think it's exactly kind of what we wanted to deliver. Obviously, I think it was 7 next teams that ended up beating Pro 16 teams in Atlanta at different ages, which is awesome. I think it shows how strong we are as a league from top to bottom. We're really not just a top-heavy league anymore. We have dudes at every single level. We have dudes like Alex, who are coming in with Norcross Heat, making a name for himself week 1. Terrace Bowie was another great prospect that a lot of us saw in 16U with Team Ish on the next side. And Zyvon Puckett with Lion Chaser U was another one who was really, really good. So next wise, we're loaded this year, to say the very least. And I think Atlanta was a great reflection of that.
I love that for sure. You had quite a few, like you said, good balanced play across all levels, but we'll start with the 17U, go on down. We had a few teams that were 4-0 in 17U. Can you kind of highlight some teams that popped out to you at that level?
Yeah, for sure. In Atlanta, especially, obviously, I think Trey ran through a couple of these, but River City Hoops was with us last year, and they're picking up exactly where they are now. Coach Ashley Fegan does a great job with them. Hill City Crash was another one, 4-0, took care of business. They've got a couple of interesting prospects that I really liked. Grassroots North Carolina, Kendall Lanier, their point guard, is kind of their metronome, and he was that way all weekend for them, led them to a 4-0 record. Memphis Blazers, another 4-0 team. They're able to really get in there. Obviously, we saw the dunk from Marvin Warren. That was probably the play of the weekend, but they get in and they can slow the pace down. They can kind of muck up other teams' sets and what's going on, and they win a lot of close games based on how they defend. So I was a big fan of them. 16U side, BTI Pressure Elite is making a case as probably one of the better teams in the entire circuit. 16U wise, they've got 6'7", 6'8", 6'8" in their front court, and all 3 guys were really, really impactful in their own right. So they ran the table this weekend. They were 4-0. Florida Bayhawks Bachelor with Diego Brito and Connor Corris were also really, really strong down in Atlanta.
Talk about Ethan Sebeck a little bit. Obviously shares your first name, but he was a hoop down in this weekend.
So we've got Ethan Piota, Ethan Sage, and Ethan Sebeck, all 3 guys that can hoop.
Okay.
So I think that's no, but for real, Ethan Sebeck is he's a big time prospect. I think he's a kid that 1 to 2 years from now could be leaving in a mid-major plus high major program. He's 6'7", shoots it at a super high clip, but also just is super tough. Impacts winning in a multitude of different ways. He was fun to watch all weekend. He can put the ball on the floor. He can score at the rim. And he's just really one of like 7 to 10 pieces on that team that impacts winning in a big time way.
Absolutely. They're definitely a team I'm excited to watch in Dallas 2 weekends from now. But also the 15U had some really high level talent. Start with Clarksville Crossover. What did you like from them?
Yeah, I love their backcourt. I mean, they're a bunch of really scrappy guards that get out and run, and they went 4-0 this weekend. They kind of have the mentality of, hey, we're going to come in here and shock the world, and that's exactly what they did. I think they had 5'9" and 5'10" in their backcourt that were 2 of their best players. Bryce Garnett and Keaton Smith, both those guys put on a great showing all weekend, and they're undersized guards. So Clarksville was really, really strong. They're going to win a lot of games. They have all the makings of a team that's going to be in Phoenix in a couple of weeks. I should say a couple of months here.
That's cool. Hopefully as hot as Arizona will be then.
Another team that really could make strides going forward this year is Team Ish in the 15U division. Talk about them. They've got a crazy amount of size for the 2027 class. So who are some of the guys that stood out for them?
James Minland, Parker Watkins, and a multitude of other guys. Ran the table all weekend. I really, really wish we could have seen Team Ish and BTI Pressure Elite 15s both face off in this one, but that's a matchup that hopefully we get later down the road. Team Ish is I've got some strong thoughts about where I think they'll finish to end the year. So I think they're putting a lot of teams on alert early and are going to continue to do so here as we progress past sessions.
Any bold predictions in your group?
I guess I'll come out and say again, I want to see everybody, so I don't want to retract my statement and look dumb in a couple weeks. But if I had to say a team that I think would go to Phoenix from the next side and win out the Pro 16 League Finals, I'd probably be on Team Ish.
Okay.
They are that good. They've got two future, in my opinion, high major prospects, but also two really, really deep. 7 guys that can go out and play, well coached. Actually had Ish Smith himself on the sideline this weekend coaching up the guys, and they were enjoying it and had a fun time and handled business.
That's awesome.
That's dope.
Another celebrity appearance. Waka Flocka Flame showed up in Atlanta. Talk about that.
That's right. It was pretty cool. He's obviously, Waka's a great dude. He came in, he was taking pictures with all the kids, and he didn't just come once. He came 3 times to watch his team play, which is pretty awesome to see him in the gym that often. And he's obviously him and his program were a big addition to us. Brig Squad Monopoly with James Black. They've done a phenomenal job building that program out the right way. And 17U had some injury trouble this first weekend. I think they're a team that could definitely be on the bounce back as they continue to get better. But the 15U handled business and put together a solid 2-2 record.
That's awesome. I know I was shocked when I saw him there, but that's awesome to see him supporting his program for sure.
Definitely.
Really cool.
Corban, I think this is the moment. Everyone in the chat, we've got a really awesome viewers live with us, but talk about a little bit. Sorry, I forgot to mention them. Triangle Offense in the 15U group. They went 4-0. Talk about them.
Yeah.
They want some love. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Coach Said Maxwell does a great job with those guys. They're another collection of really just honestly, it's just a well-coached team. They probably play 5 to 7 guys that can really get it done, shoot it well from outside, defend, get out in transition, and they handle business in their pool. They're going to be a team that, as we see here in a second, reaps the benefits of taking care of business and going 4-0 and eventually putting themselves in a pretty good spot from a standing spot to start the year.
All right, now we can get to the moment we've all been waiting for, and that is the updated standings reveal. We will start with the 11U age division. So, Ethan, you can talk a little bit about the ranking, the standings, how they come to fruition, as well as the implications going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Starting here with 11U, NJ Pirates. I'm going to be straight honest with you guys. I didn't get a chance to see any of these teams. We didn't have Atlanta we didn't have middle school down in Atlanta. But NJ Pirates were 4-0 in Valley Forge. DMV Hoop Stars went 3-1 in Valley Forge. Texas Flames 2-2 out in OKC. JH5 2-2 in Valley Forge. Bulls Nation 1-3 in Valley Forge. AAO Flight and Central Flight wrapping up the 11U docket there.
That's awesome. Also, all of these standings will all be live on our NXTPRO Hoops website, so make sure to check them out after this. But let's hop into the 12U age division.
12U is up.
12U here. Team Museum opening up 4-0 out in Valley Forge. AAO Flight next at 3-1. They were in OKC. GSA Canes also in OKC. Team United Texas also in OKC at 3-1. JH5, Castle Athletics, Central Flight, and Run as One, all up in Valley Forge. And then rounding it out, you had the Ankle Breakers, DMV Hoop Stars, and Bulls Nation. Strong start to both 11 and 12U. Obviously, this is the first year for our middle school circuit, but we're super excited about it, man. And I think the best thing I saw was some of our scouts that have been working really hard, going out and covering those games, which is awesome. Coverage for those kids is obviously extremely important when you're 11 or 12 years old. You're probably not getting recruited by many college programs unless you're Shanku, of course. So, it's one of those things where it's super cool to see, kids getting covered at that age. And that was our word to these programs. And we're going to continue to deliver on that.
Love that.
And we can jump straight into 13U.
Yeah, 13U boys from California came out and got it done. That's Brea Ballers once again. They had a great weekend as a program overall. I think they were 13-3 on the weekend. Super impressive out in Oklahoma City for the program that I think probably traveled the farthest to get there. Run is 1, also 4-0. Team Grind 4-0 out in Valley Forge. AAO, Team GME, Team Oklahoma all went 3-1 in OKC. Castle Athletics, New Day Elite, JH5, and True to Form all rounding out that middle portion in Valley Forge. And then you had D1 New Mexico, Texas Flames Basketball Academy, Texas Bad Boys, Bulls Nation, Central Flight, Team United Texas, Team Grind, and DMV Hoop Stars to round out the back half of those standings.
That's awesome. Obviously, I didn't get to watch too much of that age division, but I'm sure there's a lot of high-level talent there. Obviously, teams going 4-0 left and right. So, yeah. Class.
Oh, I think we had a moment we didn't hear you there, Shanku.
Oh, sorry, 14U.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. We can jump into that 14U age division.
Okay.
14U, you got JH5 out in Valley Forge. Really good weekend for those guys. Undefeated. Oklahoma Chaos 4-0. Colorado Heart of Guard. And again, California representing out in Oklahoma City with Brea Ballers. All 4 of those teams going 4-0. Boxers Basketball Club, Castle Athletics held it down in Valley Forge. GSA All-Stars and EAD Oklahoma, both in OKC, had a good showing. And you see the back half there. So middle school was competitive this weekend, man. It was a good start to the middle school circuit. 14, 12, 13, and 11U all showed out. And I'm looking forward to continuing to see how that all grows before our finals in Nebraska at the end of the year, July 26th to the 28th.
Big time.
That's big time for sure. And the 15U age division, which is where the high school ball starts, class of 2027, where a lot of kids really have a chance to blow up this summer, get their recruitment started. So talk about the 15U standings.
Yeah, you talked about it a little bit, Shanku, but GSA Heat is a program that I am really, really excited to watch with Sheldon Corban. They got off to a great start. They are number 1 next team for week 1. All of these teams in 15U to start, I believe, at least the first 14 here are all undefeated teams. So GSA Heat, Teamish, Clarksville Crossovers, JH5, Toronto Select, who Trey touched on a little bit, Oklahoma Wolfpack Mason, BTI Pressure Elite, Off to You, PPA Premier, RNJ Elite, Triangle Offense Elite, Only Elite, Team GME, Team First Oklahoma all went undefeated this past weekend in their respective locations. You then jumped into the 2 teams that were 3-1. Team First Oklahoma went 3-1. NJ Bulldogs also 3-1. Houston Apex 4-0. So one 4-0 team left off the top 16 for this first weekend. That was Invictus Red Storm. From what I kind of saw from running it, obviously the first weekend things are kind of wonky. The algorithm really is able to level itself out after it gets more data. This thing only gets better with more and more data. But if you were in Valley Forge, it was probably either a blessing or a curse. If you performed poorly in Valley Forge, you probably dropped pretty significantly. If you ran the table and went 4-0, then you earned a tier 1 spot in most cases.
Yeah,
got you. For sure. I know Shanku's been taking a help over here. I do want to ask you though, Ethan, coming up to 16U, kind of what popped or stood out in terms of the standings as we kind of break that down here in a minute.
Yeah. Again, super top heavy at the very at the very kind of my first reaction to it. But there was also a couple of 3-1 teams that had a super tough strength of schedule that worked their way into top 10 ranking spots. 16U is absolutely loaded. I'll just say this: the number 23 team in the standings this past weekend was a team that Trey touched on, Limitless Basketball. They are 4-0. So there was a number of teams above Limitless Basketball that went 3-1 in their respective locations. There is a plethora of talented teams in 16U. I think it's going to be a dogfight to get into Phoenix in a couple of months here.
Wow.
I agree.
Fun. And there's the stands up there. Wow.
BTI Pressure Elite, we'll start there. They actually graded out as the top overall team in all of Next or Pro 16 for any age. Coming in with an 86.21 power score. They went 4-0 on the weekend. And frankly, they were, pretty dominant. They beat Team Ish, who's a really, really strong team on this list, by 20. Their first game of the weekend. NTX Raptors, who Shanku also touched on, defeated a Pro 16 team in the AAO flight. BTI Pressure Elite also had a Pro 16 win over Team Scoop. Off to you, handled business in their bracket. Florida Bayhawks did as well. OTP lost a 2-point game to Florida Bayhawks. They come in just behind them in the standings. Next Level SC was 4-0 down in Atlanta. Exclusive Hoops also 4-0 down in Atlanta. Lion Chaser U also 4-0 down in Atlanta. And then Team Oklahoma had a 30-point margin of victory this past weekend. So they're our number 10 team.
That's fire. Wow. Okay. Love that for sure. And then I guess moving on from 16U to 17U to kind of close it out. Let's kind of go over the standings there and maybe what popped out to you.
Yeah, two obviously great starts for the teams in Oklahoma City that we talked about a little bit. Rogue and Urban DFW both graded out higher than any 17U Pro 16 team with their respective power scores, both with wins over Southern Ties. BTI Pressure Elite went 3-1. Norcross Heat went 3-1, but each of them had a Pro 16 win, which was huge in boosting their standing. River City Hoops 4-0. Delaware Certified 4-0. Hill City Crash comes in at number 7, 4-0 record. Unity Sports had a great showing up in Valley Forge. They're also 4-0. Grassroots North Carolina, Alabama Generals, both in Atlanta, took care of their respective pools and went 4-0. Prestige Basketball Club 4-0. Team KST literally ran a team out of the gym to end the Atlanta session for those that were there. They went 4-0. Team United Texas joins them as well. Invictus Red Storm, Memphis Blazers, and Texas Wildcats. So really what we see here in 17U to start off the first round of standings is that if you took care of business this weekend, you were 4-0, there's a pretty high chance that you were in Tier 1 and that you're leaving this week heading into your next tournament in a Tier 1 position. The best that I can say for being around it from a year and running this thing time and time again is that things can change in an instant. Things can change in the blink of an eye. A lot of these teams that took care of business in lower pools are going to get some serious smoke in their next matchup, and it's going to be kind of up to the test to see if they can uphold exactly where they are standings wise and prove exactly where they are. So definitely exciting. We've got a lot of talent that hasn't played yet that's going to be displaying in the next couple of weeks. So definitely excited to see that on board this weekend and the next, and continuing on through April.
With the information you have right now, obviously it's still super early in the season. Would you pick a favorite in the 17 division?
Corban already started laughing before he answered the question.
I'm sorry.
If I had to pick a favorite for next in the 17U division, it would probably be BTI Pressure Elite. That's probably the easy answer, although Rogue, Ernie Barber fired me up with his "we don't win layup lines" comment, because that's so true with them.
So true.
And they're always going to be super competitive. I actually don't know if he was thinking right when he said that we can't go 4-0 every single weekend, because I think anytime Rogue touches the floor, they have a chance to win every single game that they play. Urban DFW is just about the same. You mentioned Grayson Rigdon not being there this weekend for that group. I mean, they're going to get better and better as they get the nation's leading score back. But BTI Pressure Elite is probably a collection of 12. I think it's 12 or 13 guys that they have on the roster, maybe less. And every single one of them is going to play college basketball. At some level, whether it's D1 or D2 or JUCO or whatever it is. I can't make that proclamation yet. but they have probably 12 or 13 guys that are going to leave this circuit in a college basketball program. So they are going to go out there. They're well coached. They're going to compete and give their best to just about anybody. They probably really, if you ask those guys, there's some sleepless nights going on over on that camp. They probably should have been 4-0 this past weekend, and they kind of dropped the ball to a really talented one family group. But that kind of result, losing a 3-point game to a Pro 16 team, really does help you when you're in that position as a next team.
Sure. Ethan, we appreciate you coming on. I know a lot of people were waiting for this segment, but every week we'll have Ethan on talking about our standings update. So, Ethan, thank you for joining us again. We'll see you next week.
Appreciate you for sure. All right.
Oh, he's back.
Having Ethan on. Thanks again, Ethan. That was fun. And honestly, thank everyone who came, as a guest on this show. So, I mean, from Alex Young, Coach Ernie Barber, we had I'm sorry, Josh King. Exactly. We had a few really good players and coaches, and really appreciate just having the ability to talk to them, kind of get updates, learn a little bit more about them. That's kind of what the show's about, really, highlighting, showcasing the great basketball that we see at all levels here on the NXTPRO circuit. So really, really grateful for that, and want to thank everyone again for their time. Shanku, man, this was fun. Another packed show. What are you most looking forward to coming up this weekend?
Yeah, so obviously we have a few sessions. I will be personally in Monroe, Louisiana this weekend for session 2. Corban, will you?
I'm gonna be in Nebraska.
Okay.
I'm excited. My first trip, everything for the first time. I'm giddy, man. Like, plane right there. Let's go. I'm excited just to be able to be literally, feet on the ground, watch great basketball, be able to report hopefully halfway good as you do, Shanku. It's a tall task, my guy, but hopefully halfway good, man. I'm not even just saying that because he's my co-host here and we rocking it, but real talk, I'm just excited to really kind of see some great ball, see some great people in action, some great coaches, just be around the atmosphere, the environment. So I'm definitely pumped for that. But there's also some big news coming from Texas, I hear.
Yeah, College Station features our first session for the girls next circuit. So that'll be a spot to be if you're near College Station, Texas. Going to be some high-level girls going at it this weekend. So definitely miss out on that. We'll have coverage coming throughout the weekend. So don't miss out. Sure.
Definitely excited, man. So much ball all over. It was fun to break it down from the top 10 to the standings update at the end, and everything in between has been a blast. And listen, y'all, we just recommend, again, checking our YouTube channel, checking previous episodes of the NXTPRO show, game highlights. I saw a couple drop over the past couple of days here to kind of recap some of the action. A lot of great coverage coming here from the NXTPRO channel. So definitely make sure to stay on top of that. But listen, y'all, next week, we'll have pretty much the same as we do this week, right? Review of the week, preview of next week, player interviews, maybe some coaches. At this point, you should kind of get to know how we do here. So definitely looking forward to that. But as always, y'all, thank y'all for staying with us. Thank y'all for the comments. Thank y'all for everything. For Shanku, for myself, we are Frosty. Y'all stay frosty, and we'll talk to y'all next week. All right, y'all.